Hi YouTube, welcome back to Tractor Talk with Gary. Today we're going to finish my series, my two-part series on the top 3 reasons to buy a Kubota L2501 tractor. Yesterday I did the first part of the video, today will be the last in that two-part series. So there are 3 reasons that you would buy, they're the top reasons that you would buy a Kubota L2501 tractor. Some things we went over yesterday is they make 3 tractors in this L series. They make an L2501, which you see here. This is the one that I own. They make an L3301 and an L3901. The difference is simply different engines put in. It's the very same chassis on the tractor. They have the same hydraulic power, the L3901 or the L3301. Neither one will outlift this tractor for loader capacity. They do have more power at the PTO, but as we went over yesterday, it's not a noticeable difference in the L3301. A little bit, but not noticeable. If the L2501 just isn't quite enough power, then you can step up to the L3301. However, when you do that, you get away from the Tier 4 emissions, being under that T4 emissions requirement by the federal government. From 25 horse and up, above 25 horse, up to 25 horse, you're not required to have all the burn cycle, the DPF filter, DEF, all that stuff. And it adds, having to have that adds a lot of expense, it adds maintenance to the equipment. So if you can get by with a 25 horsepower tractor, which I certainly decided that I could, that is definitely the way to go. Definitely the way to go. So we're going to walk around and we're going to talk about some more things, but the number one reason to get a Kubota L2501, I would have to say is... Hi YouTube, welcome back to Tractor Talk with Gary. Today we're going to finish my series, my two-part series on the top 3 reasons to buy a Kubota L2501 tractor. Yesterday I did the first part of the video, today will be the last in that two-part series. So there are 3 reasons that you would buy, they're the top reasons, that you would buy a Kubota L2501 tractor. Some things we went over yesterday is they make 3 tractors in this L series. They make an L2501, which you see here, this is the one that I own. They make an L3301 and an L3901. The difference is simply different engines put in. It's the very same chassis on the tractor. They have the same hydraulic power, the L3901 or the L3301. Neither one will outlift this tractor for loader capacity. They do have more power at the PTO, but as we went over yesterday, it's not a noticeable difference in the L3301. A little bit, but not noticeable. If the L2501 just isn't quite enough power, then you can step up to the L3301. However, when you do that, you get away from the Tier 4 emissions, being under that T4 emissions requirement by the federal government. From 25 horse and up, above 25 horse, up to 25 horse, you're not required to have all the burn cycle, the DPF filter, DEF, all that stuff. And it adds, having to have that adds a lot of expense, it adds maintenance to the equipment. So if you can get by with a 25 horsepower tractor, which I certainly decided that I could, that is definitely the way to go. Definitely the way to go. So we're going to walk around and we're going to talk about some more things, but the number one reason to get a Kubota L2501, I would have to say the number one reason to get the Kubota L2501 is the reliability. Kubota has a well-earned reputation for reliability. They make good, strong equipment. They make really good, strong running engines. They're very reliable, very economical to run. So that's number one, is the reliability of them. In my book, they can't be beat. Maybe they can be duplicated somewhat, but they can't be beat. Kubota really has a good reputation. They started selling tractors in the United States back in 1961, and it was an L I want to say it was an L200. It was an overwhelming success overnight, and then it spread like wildfire up into Canada. Now there's Kubota dealers all over the US and Canada, and have become a very, very popular piece of equipment. So the reliability is number one. And I would have to say number two is the dealership network and parts availability on these. They're not there with John Deere, but John Deere and Kubota, when it comes to these compact and these compact utility tractors, they are neck and neck. I think John Deere outsells Kubota. I tried looking it up and finding stats on it, and I'm not coming up with any information. I haven't done any really serious digging on it, but I just tried to do some looking and come up with some numbers, and although I come up with John Deere and Kubota are number one and number two, I guess I'll leave it up to you to decide which is number one. I still think it's John Deere. John Deere has held their claws into the marketplace for a long, long time, and I've been a John Deere guy all my life. If you look around my farm here, you will see John Deere farm equipment. I've been a John Deere guy. John Deere are they better than anything else? Not necessarily. Why do I prefer John Deere? Parts availability, reliability, resale is a big one, which brings me to the third point. The third number one reason to buy a Kubota L2501, if by chance you're going to trade, you're going to sell, if you're getting up in years, you're going to retire, resale value is a big one. Kubota will hold their resale value where some of these others will not. Doesn't make them a better tractor, but it just may make all the difference in the world when you go to get out of it. So that's any compact tractor is going to sell okay. I don't know how well they hold their value, but Kubota's right up there. That's not even an issue with Kubota. So those are my three number one reasons rather to buy a Kubota L2501 tractor. In speaking about the 3-point hitch, it was created, or I should say it was patented back in 1929 by a gentleman by the name of Harry Ferguson. You may recognize that last name. Harry Ferguson in Britain. He realized the importance of having the implement coupled to the tractor rather than pulled with a drawbar. And there were some safety issues there too, that's what caused him to develop this and then patent it. And then after years of going back and forth, it was about a decade, I believe, he finally convinced Henry Ford to go with the 3-point hitch. And then they started coming into North America. And then there were other variations of it that International Harvester had what they call a fast hitch, and Alice Chalmers had what they called a snap coupler, J.I. Case had what they called eagle hitch, and John Deere had some had some system. Anyway, that they had their own, can't say that word today, just like I couldn't say R1s and R4s right yesterday. It was 8 degrees here yesterday, and my brain and tongue were not wired together. And today, I don't know what my excuse is today, because it's up in the upper 40s. It's almost going to hit 50. Muddy and sloppy out, so can't do a lot outside. So I thought it'd be a good day to finish my video before I make people mad that I didn't throw all those in the first video. But anyway, John Deere had their own system too, and the 3-point system. Like I said, I don't think you can get a tractor without those anymore. I sure would not want one. I can't imagine why you would. And from Gosselin Farms, a few minutes ago, we were talking about operating the loaders on these. On any tractor, it is never a good idea to be running around with this loader up in the air. Best advice I can give someone is don't do it. Don't do it. I don't care if the bucket's empty. Don't do it. It's when that bucket is up in the air, you have a lot of leverage against the tractor. If you should happen to drop a wheel in a hole or something, you can flop the tractor over pretty easily. And the rule with these new ones that have the roll bar and the seat belt is roll bar up, seat belt is on. Roll bar down, seat belt is off. It says that in all the manuals. Why is that? That is because with the roll bar up, the roll bar is going to, the purpose of the roll bar is to hopefully protect you. You're going to get banged up pretty good, but you're going to be alive. You're going to live to tell the tale. Roll bar down, you're going to land pretty flat, and the chances are, if you have your seatbelt on, you could get squashed. So the thinking there is if you have your roll bar down, which I see a lot of guys doing that, and maybe they're just running around the yard and they're on the level or whatever, and it's maybe not that big of a deal. I don't know if the roll bar's on there. I think I'd be using it, roll bar up. But a lot of guys have, after they've gotten their tractor, they find out the roll bar is too tall to go in the garage. So they drop the roll bar down and in and out of the garage with the roll bar. There's a pretty good channel that does a pretty good job of that, and that is Luke from Orange is My New Green. He's got a lot of videos out, and I don't know what one it was or what the name of it was, but he was experimenting with all kinds of warnings and stuff because he was afraid that he'd get forgetful sometime and tear his garage door header out. And some of the things he came up with, I mean, he was really thinking. He's really thinking this through. So if you want to see a good video on that, look up Luke from Orange is My New Green. I think you'll like that. And Luke and I have developed a friendship too, going back and forth on YouTube. Another good YouTuber. So anyway, don't run with that loader up in the air. That's a bad idea. Bad idea. I was telling Ed that I have a friend of mine I used to work for, someone that he rented his farm out to. He was trying to help this guy that he rented his farm out to. He had some washing in a ditch, and he took a moldboard plow out there, a semi-mounted plow, and he was plowing and he broke one of where the lift arms attached to the plow, broke one of those off, and he was going to have it welded. So he decided to go out there with a tricycle tractor. What I mean by a tricycle tractor is, this is a tricycle tractor. It has the narrow front end. The wheels are together on the front end versus this is a wide front end tractor. The Ford back there is a wide front end tractor. And the other 520 John Deere, walk with me here, is another tricycle tractor. My dad, when he was alive, he and I never agreed on these tricycle tractors. My dad swore up and down that these were as safe as a wide front end, and I told him, oh, no, they're not. There's a reason the manufacturers do not make them anymore. And that reason is too many people have been killed on them. You know, any of you guys that have done wrestling, you know, when you get down to your base position, you don't put your hands together like this. You put your hands out wide. You're more stable that way. That was the whole reason for widening out my rear stance on the tractor. It makes it a whole lot more stable. So anyway, those are the top 3 reasons that I suggest that you get a Kubota L2501. These things are a little powerhouse. It's amazing what they're capable of doing. With these R1, and yes, they're R1s. I said yesterday R4s. I don't know where that came from. With these R1 tires on here, they're aggressive if you drive on your lawn, which I do sometimes. I go carefully. I don't try and tear it up. I try and go as easy as I can. But when you plow snow, you don't need chains on these. On the R4s, you do. Now there's the new R14s, I believe they are. They are kind of a hybrid tire. They're kind of a mix in between. They give you good traction, but yet they don't tear up the ground like the R1s do. And if you're careful turning, Of course, when the ground is soft, these are putting a little bar down on the ground. What's actually making contact? That's the R4 is a much wider surface making contact. But I have steep hills here, and if I go down into my woods in the morning and the grass is wet, those wide lug tires, the R4s, will just slide on wet grass. That's dangerous. There's a first hill I go down, there's a big ditch at the bottom. I wouldn't want to end up bottom side up in. That would not be good. So anyway, I think I've talked long enough. That's the top 3 reasons. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to this channel. Hit that like button on these videos. If you want to see when others come out, click that notification bell to the right is the subscribe button there, and it'll notify you when I put other videos out. I try to get one a week out. I'm going to be very busy this summer, and I spend a lot of time on YouTube now. That's gotten me through the winter. And I'm afraid that I'm not going to be following YouTube channels this summer like I have been all winter. And I hope I don't upset anybody by doing that, because it's nothing personal, absolutely nothing personal. If you don't know by now how much I love YouTube, you're going to be slow in the uptake there. So, all right, thanks for watching YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, click that like button, and share this with other people that may be interested in the L2501. Any questions, comments? Leave them in the comments, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thanks for watching, YouTube.